Hello, here is SIDDqlo with my bad English, and for the past couple of years I've been dedicating part of my free time to developing games using the RPGmaker engine. For me, game development isn't a chore, it's a game in itself, a captivating puzzle where I must strategically deploy my resources to achieve the outcomes I envision. That's precisely why I steer clear of plugins. While they simplify complex results, they strip away much of the satisfaction I derive from the creative process. In my upcoming project Don't Hold Me, I implemented a variety of interactive scenes, like opening a door, playing a piano, and even an aqua minigame like the ones popular in early 90s. I crafted them using entirely RPGmaker MV native Show Picture and Move Pictures command, alongside numerous parallel events running seamlessly in the background. Keep in mind, there are countless ways to accomplish similar effects, and my aim here is simply to demonstrate the approach I took, which may not be the most intuitive or efficient. I acknowledge that many talented developers have pushed RPGmaker far beyond what I've achieved, but for me these scenes represent my proudest milestone so far. I've decided to produce this short tutorial series to empower fellow beginners like myself to recreate scenes akin to those in Don't Hold Me. I'm eager to see what you all create with these techniques. It unlocks boundless possibilities, and I'm confident I haven't even scratched the surface yet. If this proves helpful, please consider subscribing to my channel and following my projects on X, Blue Sky, and of course itch.io. This video is divided into chapters, so feel free to jump directly to the section that interests you the most. We'll begin with the fundamentals, how the Show Picture and Move Picture commands operate in RPGmaker, the roles of Parallel and Autorun events, key concepts around switches and variables, and a step-by-step guide to building simple interactive scenes, like pressing a button or opening a door in first-person view. These are straightforward enough for anyone to replicate just by following along. In subsequent videos, I'll divide into more intricate piano scene and an aqua minigame, which I've reserved for intermediate and advanced tutorials due to their added complexity. In RPGmaker you can display pictures dynamically via an event command at any moment. The interface lets you specify the picture's position and opacity. The Move Picture command then allows you to animate these properties over a defined duration, creating smooth transitions. Each picture is assigned to a unique ID, which serves dual purposes. As a dedicated slot, preventing overlaps, you can't place two pictures in the same ID, and as a layering priority, higher IDs render on top of lower rounds. This built-in layering system is a game changer, enabling developers to stack pictures into complex compositions without plugins. By default, pictures appear above most game elements, overlaying sprites and tilesets, but sitting just below the message window. To position pictures behind sprites and tilesets, leverage the parallax background feature. For advanced setups, like stacking multiple parallax layers or interleaving pictures between sprites and tilesets, you need plugins tailored for parallax mapping or fog effects. The Move Picture command also supports scaling, letting you zoom in, zoom out, or apply subtle distortions for dynamic visual flair. When employing the Show Picture command, several key considerations ensure polished results. First, match your picture dimensions to the game resolution. Undersized images leave blank gaps, oversized ones get cropped. While mismatches can inspire creative effects, beginners should start with images sized exactly to the screen resolution for hassle-free positioning. The command offers flexible origin points, top left corner or screen center. In Don't Hold Me, my resolution is 940 for 560, so most assets share these dimensions. For instance, the door and wall shown here were drawn on a 960 per 540 canvas, close enough to fit perfectly. Positioning it at coordinates like 0, 0 with top left alignment fits the screen seamlessly, with no gaps or cropping. Using center alignment at 0, 0 would show it to the bottom right, clipping most of the image. Remember, coordinates originate from the top left. X increases left to right, Y top to bottom. Negative values shift elements left or upward. You can even drive X and Y positions with variables, a powerful technique I'll demonstrate later for crafting truly interactive scenes. In the bottom right corner of the Show Picture command, you'll find the controls for opacity and blend modes. Opacity ranges from 0, full invisible, to 255, maximum opacity. This is invaluable for layering pictures without completely obscuring underlying sprites or tilesets. Use intermediate values for subtle effects like lighting, shadows, glass overlays, rippling water, or translucent liquids. It also lets HUD elements blend seamlessly without blocking key action below. Blend modes offer 4 options: normal, additive, multiply, and screen. I break down their differences in the next video, but for now know that normal handles most tasks flawlessly. You can often ignore the rest. The others behave differently from tools in Photoshop or as a sprite, so experiment cautiously. When creating an event, you select its trigger type. By default, events use action button, activating when the player approaches and presses enter or space. Player touch is great for seamless map transitions, but our stars are Autorun and Parallel process, so let's dive in. Autorun events fire automatically once conditions like a switch are met. Nothing in RPGmaker is truly instantaneous, expect a 1-2 frame delay. Autoruns have high priority, overriding screen activity. For example, flipping a switch mid-dialogue could trigger an autorun, interrupting everything chaotically. Pro tip, always set the switch as the final command in the triggering event. Autoruns don't self-terminate, so the game freezes post-execution unless handled. A solution could be to end with a switch flip, then add a blank page 2 conditioned on the switch, set to action button or any inactive trigger. This helps processing cleanly. I favor global switches over sub-switches for easier tracking. Also, autoruns force most of other events to wait, so simultaneous autoruns equal freeze. Avoid at all costs. Parallel process events conversely run in the background with low priority and auto loop until deactivated via switch or conditions fail. Unlike standard dialogues which lock movement, parallels let player roam freely between messages, perfect for ambient effects. In Don't Hold Me, I use autoruns to kick off and rope interactive scenes, while parallels handle picture positioning, opacity tweaks, and input responses. Events are RPGmaker backbone, endless depth here. I've shared the essentials, future videos will expand. Switches and variables orchestrate events, chaining them into dynamic sequences. At first glance they overlap. Switches are binary, 0, 1 like on-off, while variables are numeric, an integer. Hypothetically, you could mimic variables with sequential switches, only one on at a time, or vice versa, but don't, each shines in its context. Here is a clear analogy. An oven's on and off button is a switch. The temperature dial is a variable. For picture-based scenes, the magic is positioning pictures via variables instead of hard-coded numbers, making positioning ultra-flexible. Now, let's apply it. I'll walk you through autoruns, parallels, switches and variables, coordinating a simple scene, a hand pressing a button to shut off a CRT TV. Okay, now we're finally getting our hands dirty with a real interactive scene. This is the part you've been waiting for. We're going to create a simple first-person interaction where the player moves a hand around the screen with the arrow keys and presses a button on an old CRT TV to turn it off. Trust me, once you see this working it'll feel super satisfying, and it's all done without a single plugin. First things first, before touching any events, plan what you want and prepare your pictures. For this scene I only need 3 images, one of the normal CRT TV, one of the same TV but with the button pressed down with a slight difference, and the hand cursor. Mine is a simple pointing hand with the index finger out. Alright, let's jump into RPGmaker. I'm going to create the first event, the one that sets everything up when the player enters the map. I'll set it to auto-run with no conditions so it triggers immediately. In this event, I do a few quick things. Show the normal TV on picture ID 1, position it at 00, perfect full screen fit. Show the hand on picture ID 3, but this time using 2 variables for position, hand X and hand Y. I set hand X to 250 and hand Y to 240 right away, so the hand starts down in the bottom right corner. At the very end, I flip a switch called TV Scene to On, and then I add a second blank page on this event, conditioned by that switch. This way the auto-run finishes cleanly and doesn't freeze the game. Boom! Playtest it. The TV fills the screen, the hand pops up in the corner. Perfect start. Now, the fun part, making the hand move. I'll create a second event set to parallel process and condition it by the TV scene switch being on. Inside this parallel event, I add 4 big conditional branches, one for each arrow key. Let's take the up key as an example. If the player is pressing up, I subtract 5 from hand Y. But just changing the variable isn't enough, the picture won't move yet. So right after, I add a move picture command for ID3, positioning it to the current values of hand X and hand Y. I set the duration to just 2 frames and importantly, no wait time. This makes the movement feel smooth and responsive, almost instant. I repeat the exact same logic for down, add 5 to hand Y, left, subtract 5 from hand X, and right, add 5 to hand X. Playtest again. Yes, the hand glides around the screen with the arrows, feels great already, but there's a problem. Right now the hand can fly completely off screen, not cool. So let's fix that. I open my hand image in any editor, even Paint is fine, and I look at where the tip of the index finger actually is. That's the part that needs to touch the button, so I treat the finger like a simple invisible rectangle to make the math easy. For my hand picture, the fingertip starts about 10 pixels down from the top of the image, and maybe 60 pixels tall. I just jot these numbers down on paper super quick. Back in the parallel event inside each arrow condition, I add a little safety check. For example, in the up branch, before subtracting 5, I check if hand Y is already less than 10. If it is, I force hand Y back to 10. That way the finger never goes off the top of the screen. I do the same for the other directions, different limits for down, left and right based on my finger rectangular measurements. Test it. Now the hand stays nicely on screen, no matter how hard you mash the arrows. Much better. Okay, we're almost there. Now we need the button to actually do something when the finger is over it, and the player presses enter. First, back to the drawing program. I roughly measure the button area on the TV image. I draw a generous rectangle around it, maybe a bit bigger than the button itself, because forgiving controls feel way better in gameplay. I note down the 4 edges, left X around 400, right X around 450, top Y around 200, bottom Y around 230. Now, third, event, another parallel process, again conditioned by TV scene on. This one will constantly check if the finger is inside that button rectangle and if enter is pressed. I build one big nested set of conditionals. If hand X is greater than 400, meaning the right side of the finger is past the left side of the button, and inside that, if hand X is less than 450, left side of finger hasn't gone past the right side. And then let's check if hand Y is greater than 200 and less than 230, and finally, if the player is pressing enter. Then, inside the deepest part, the reward, I erase the normal TV picture, ID1, show the pressed button version, ID2, play a little power off sound or animation, fade the screen and transfer to the next map. Playtest one last time, move the hand over the button, press enter, click. The button, the presses, the TV shuts off. It works. And that's it, your first fully interactive picture-based scene, all with core RPGmaker commands. It might feel like a lot of steps the first time, but once you do it once, you'll fly through the next ones. In the next video we'll build on this exact system to make something a bit more complex, like opening the door with a handle animation. If you followed along and got your TV turning off, drop a comment below, I'd love to see your versions. And that's all for this tutorial. First off, a huge thank you for sticking with me all the way through. I really hope you enjoyed it and that building that CRT TV button scene felt as rewarding for you as it still does for me every time I playtest it. To help you practice right away, I'm dropping links in the description to a simple hand image and a doorknob picture pack. Feel free to grab them and recreate an interactive door opening scene using exactly the same system we just built. It's super straightforward, just swap the TV for the door, adjust the hitbox coordinates and add a little hand turn animation if you want. But honestly, don't stop there, let your creativity run wild. This picture-based mechanic can do so much more, rotating valves, flipping switches, picking up objects, petting a cat, whatever your imagination comes up with. The possibilities are truly endless and I'm excited to see what you all can create. In the next video we'll level up a bit. I'll walk you through how I made the piano scene in Don't Hold Me, complete with a visible score sheet you have to follow. We'll dive deeper into switches and variables to handle multiple correct keys and timing. And then, in the final part of this mini-series, I'll break down the underwater minigame. Fair warning, it's pretty complex and I'll be skipping over a lot of the basics we've already covered here, so make sure you've got this foundation solid. If you have any questions about today's scene, want to share your own version of the button or door interaction, or just want to say hi, drop a comment below. I read every single one and I'd love to hear from you. And if you're curious about the game where all these scenes live, head over to my itch.io page, search for SIDDqlo and check out Don't Hold Me. Wishlist it, try the demo or just take a look, it would mean the world to me. Thanks again for watching. If this helped you even a little, give the video a like, consider subscribing and hit the bell so you don't miss the next part.